All right, so I want to talk with you guys about something real quick. I want to talk about being able to get stuff done, mother effing stuff done. I want to know your experience with this. So a lot of the times people right now are going to tell you that you just have to have the discipline, that it doesn't matter about the motivation. You just got to go straight in, face plant, and you got to do it day in, day out. Even if you're freaking grinding your teeth, even if you're depressed and you want to kill yourself, all that stuff, man. But I don't hear too many people talking about vice versa, the motivation part of it, the fact that motivation could actually be a good thing. The fact that Michael Jordan himself even said that he had to find the hunger. He was like feeding himself, which was him, a tiger. He was feeding the tiger inside and trying to get that motivation any way that he could. And I want to know what actually helps you guys, because there's not that many people out there talking about their experience with either or and what actually works the best for them. So what I've been thinking about is the fact that when I have been trying to get better and better at what I'm doing, I try to lean on that, just self-discipline, doing it because you got to do it and just doing it every day. People tell you got to work 8 hours a day. I used to try to do that, like try to just get up, work the 8 hours a day. But something about that, it just wasn't there. I would sit down, I would do this stuff, but it wasn't necessarily my best work. It wasn't the most efficient. So I started trying out something different. And what I was trying out was something that I heard from Dan Coe. He talked about you just got to work 3 hours a day. 3 focused, dedicated hours. You ain't doing nothing else. And I was like, okay, that could actually work. That could actually work. Along with something else paired of being able to get 3 most important tasks done, which is something I heard from Andy Frisella, who's an entrepreneur. So I was like, okay, let me try this out. Let me see how this actually works for me. And I feel like that worked personally a lot better. I think there's a nice little balance between the two, but that is something that worked a lot better for me personally. So let's talk about a little bit about the fact of who are we coaching? And how are we coaching ourselves? So for ourselves, every single one of us is our own specific person. We have our own ways of getting motivated. We have our own ways of doing things. Now, how are you coaching yourself? How well do you know yourself? Because for myself, it was like, I had these voices in my head from people telling me, you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. But once I started treating myself as my own, kind of employee, I need to figure out how this employee needs to operate. If this employee isn't working well, there's probably a reason. I could fix this and think about it differently. So for yourself, if you are an employee too, how do you operate right now? Let me give you an example. So there was times where I just wasn't motivated, and I did not think that doing the 8 hours a day of work and just telling myself, just be disciplined, that wasn't going to work for me. Hell no. So one of the ways that actually did work was finding out my goals. That was such a freaking unlock. Finding out my goals, getting very specific about them was so good for me because it gets me up every single morning, motivated and excited. And all of a sudden, consequently, I am kind of working the 8 hours a day without even really thinking about it. I'm still doing the 3 hours, but then later in the day, I'll come back because I just love it so much. So for yourself, what is that for you? What is the thing that you're struggling with right now? And can you stop beating yourself up over it and try to figure out a way to tweak it up so that you become a better operator, you become a better employee for yourself? It's like if you were in a company and your employee just wasn't operating very well, you're not just going to continue to hone in on okay, you got to do it my way. You got to do it my way. You got to go up to the employee. You got to ask them, okay, how are you actually operating? What's the best way that we can get the best out of you? So what if we started treating ourselves like that also? Start being a good coach. Start being the coach. Maybe you do need to be talked to hard. Maybe you do need it straight up. That's okay, man. But just figuring that out for ourselves and allowing us to try out these methods and treating ourselves like that. What if that was the actual unlock? Because then all of a sudden you start finding one tweak after another and you start finding these things that actually work for you. And now I feel like I'm very freaking motivated. I'm very freaking inspired. But I would have never got to this if I just kept telling myself I have to do this 8 hours a day. I have to do it the way that people are telling me to do it. So for yourself, what is that for you? What is the thing that's going to unlock your potential, unlock the way that you operate best? Because now I also realize it's something where I had to build up the momentum. It wasn't just something where I was going to go from doing 1 hour a day of what I'm doing here to doing 8 hours a day. It was something where I had to treat myself with some compassion and be like, okay, we're going to start at 1 hour and then we're going to go up to 2 hours and then we're going to go up to 3 hours. And then we're going to make them more focused. Then we're going to get real specific about this. Then we're going to create some goals, working it up, and it's a momentum built thing. It doesn't just start overnight. But this is just something I'm thinking about with discipline and being able to, work it up. What's y'all's experience with this? Do you operate better on the vice versa, being more disciplined and just getting it done anyways? Do you actually feel like you're efficient when you do that? Do you feel like you get stuff done? Because that's a big metric, man. I feel like there's people that work 8 hours a day, but they still don't get much done. There's people that work 1 hour a day and they get more done than almost anybody. What's y'all's experience with this though? I would love to talk with y'all about this because this is super interesting. And I think we need more examples out there. We need to know about more people that tried stuff out and letting us know how it worked for you. I love you. Hope you have an amazing day, week. Peace.